at this point, since Disco and Conan have at least dealt with him a little. Ben, I'm not sure if you have. You might know him, Bruce Pritchard. What would be the benefit at this? I know Bruce has the reputation as up Vince's ass and a kiss ass and all that. Vince is gone. He doesn't have any power now. Bruce probably values his job and his salary. What's the benefit to him right now to go behind everyone's back and try to sneak to Vince?
They're friends.
Okay, friends, yeah, but I mean, like,
Ben.
Bro, I have friends that call me up all the time and tell me real
Yeah.
shit that's going on that I can't even say on the podcast.
Right.
What power do you think Vince McMahon wields there? Right, still.
19 million in NDAs, 800 million in stock cash-ins, and the power of the Saudi royal family with a $600 billion slush fund behind you could start a new wrestling promotion like that.
Well, that's very different, but I don't think he influences any power in WWE.
I disagree. If him and Stephanie are that, where she's sitting on his lap giving him butterfly kisses, and then she's with Hunter, that Stooge report or whatever is going down. As long as there's a Thanksgiving dinner, they always are.
Okay, well, draw me a line, draw me a direct line from Vince McMahon is still influencing the show to something that happened on the show.
People say coward.
That's
who the fuck says coward in real life? Disco, you coward. How dare you talk about his chair like that?
But maybe it's a word that just stuck around, which I think is stupid.
It's those types of old. Why would words like that stick around? Because an out-of-touch 70-year-old still has his thumb on the pulse of what you're going to call somebody. And now we throw in Blue. You're an asshole. You're a bitch. You don't give a shit. If it was me, I would go hardcore swear.
Let me ask you a question.
Rock and Drew have been calling each other a bitch.
Let me ask you a question.
Not a coward, you know.
Rock says fuck all the time.
They use the word coward.
Let me ask you a question.
But that's your evidence.
No, I'm just saying that. No.
I don't think
he influences.
I just want to say one thing with like what you were asking.
I just think him and Bruce are boys. It's like if, for example, let's say for some reason I left the show, right? I'd still always keep in contact with Disco and Joe. You know what I'm saying? Just say what's going on.
I think it's like Carol Burnett. Every time she chugged her ear and said, "I love you, Mom." Every time someone says "coward," that's Bruce saying, "I love you, Vince."
Maybe the whole Hamin gimmick is a shout out to Bruce and Vince.
Every time,
right? Heyman's Bruce. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
But you asked me what's another thing, like what's an example?
Yeah.
Sami Zayn running out of the crowd to attack guys from behind, things getting switched, like even in a storyline going into Mania. Obviously, we had Rocky IV being built with Gunther and Chad Gable, and then something happens where Sammy, the Syrian Canadian, gets slotted in instead of the American dude who's been training, and you just embarrassed him in front of his kids. Now we're gonna make this guy a manager now.
Zayn had a long storyline arc, and he was as hot as anybody in the promotion when he was with the Bloodline. They took that away from him, gave him the tag titles to keep him hot. Right? But then he cooled down because he was losing for a while. And I think, this is the Booker in me, I think they were like, okay, Sammy got really over and it's our job to keep him over. And that's why they did that.
All right, let's do the second one, Conan.
Okay, yeah. So here's another one, which I had no idea about. So let me ask you, before I even ask you this. So am I to get that you do not like the WWE product, what they're booking, what they're writing?
It's not that I don't like it. You know, we're addicted to this shit, and I'm paid to watch it. So, I get
I'm
to
not
work
asking
with.
If you're addicted. Do you like it or you don't like it? I mean, it doesn't sound like you do.
Not. There's nothing that really gets me going because there's nothing.
Not the Bloodline, not the Judgment Day.
Let me present it to you like this, Ben. Here's the way I look at it. Look at the Raw as a 3 hour of Saturday, 3 hours of Saturday Night Live. You have some good skits, some bad skits.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say lately, like this past year, they've had more good skits than bad skits in the years past? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, definitely. Because during the COVID era and before, like people, the houses were down to 3,000. The upper. The reason I have a Ben Hamin Tarp Emporium shirt on my pro wrestling tees is the fact that they're trying to act like they're over, and all they were booking was the J hook and the upper things tarped off. And now
Yeah.
the same things with AEW. So businesses bounce back because of The Rock, because of Roman, because of Bloodline, because of Sammy, and because of Johnny Knoxville, Ronda Rousey, and
Logan
people that they
Paul.
keep bringing in.
Bad
Yeah,
Bunny,
Logan
Logan
Bad
Paul.
Paul,
Bunny.
right.
Yeah,
Bro, they've
absolutely.
just done such an incredible job to me. We hated watching the shows. All we did was bury it. The people, oh, you're being haters, bro. The show sucks. What do we,
Yeah.
if we find something
Bro,
we like, we'll let you know,
ev-
right?
Yeah,
every
And I
celebrity,
think the show's been really good.
and I allegedly tried to create things like
every celebrity
Raw
that used to come,
Underground or Retribution and
Yeah.
whatnot, and then
Those, that sucked. And we said it when it came out.
it,
When
well,
it came out.
it didn't suck when it was on paper when I allegedly wrote it. Fucking the
Yeah.
way they carried it out, it sure sucked.
well, that's the question, Vince Conan.
So the other question was, I didn't even know this till Disco told me. So did Vince actually say the first when AEW first came out that AEW and WWE were in cahoots?
Well, I think that goes back
Disco told me
maybe.
that
But that
I
was
think
before
that
you, yeah. Vince
when it
insisted.
first started.
And bro, you can look at some tweets. It's hysterical. I mean, it's really funny. You look back at this without a shadow of a doubt. AEW is working with WWE. Like that. That's one of the tweets. And I was like,
yeah.
like,
Do you remember
I don't
that?
trust that to be true. You know, like
Right.
You don't trust that to be true. Wasn't it on his Twitter?
on wose.
no,
On
but
Russo's
I
Twitter.
think
Where
he's talking
did you?
about when
oh,
they're
did
you
working with
read
each
that?
other. Of course, that's true.
Oh, I don't agree with the one with the hazing. I might not agree with that. However,
Right.
I remember being in the locker room with Dreamer, and hey, you like conspiracies, huh? Mean, and lets me in on the secret of that Vince had given Paulie $10 million to keep ECW open, so then they could cherry pick talent later. And in WCW, didn't Vince let a lot of guys go over there to kind of get big contracts to rob the coffers? So if there was a reason for them to work together, it's kind of like, yeah, we'll send you these guys that we can't afford anymore, overpay them, and it'll actually hurt
Let me
you.
tell you why I think that didn't happen, and because I'm not going to get into the whole story because Disco's heard it a million times. He's probably bored of it. But when FTR was working with us, I gave the titles, the tag team titles, to Dragon Lee and his brother Dralistico. Okay.
Mhm.
And the next day, Dragon Lee signed with WWE. He hadn't signed yet. The next day, he signed. Well, Tony fucking went nuts, and I had to fly over there, you know, and he fucking went off. And he was like, yeah, you know, why are you doing this? And I can't believe you did this. And, you know, that's, you stabbed me in the back and you should have told me before. And, you know, and I go, so basically what you're trying to tell me is you don't want me to work with WWE again. He goes, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say, and I have two witnesses here saying I didn't say that. But bro, he had given out that day the order that if he found out that anybody was watching, what was the thing I told you yesterday, Joe, with Cody, the Royal Rumble?
Oh, WrestleMania when he debuted, or the Rumble
No,
when
the
he
Royal Rumble.
the Rumble when he
Rumble that he
returned.
won, right?
Yeah,
And he basically gave an edict: I better not find anybody watching that show. Obviously, people were doing
Or
it.
else what? He's gonna kick
that's
your
over the
ass.
top.
wait,
That's
wait,
fucked
wait.
up.
Now he'll
Tony,
probably fire
I'd
you.
never heard
He
this.
was like this.
Yeah.
Don't
never
you
heard
watch
Tony-
that show?
Tony
Right. So
Khan told his talent not to watch that show.
yes.
I thought they were
And,
independent
bro, would I be
contractors.
saying this if it wasn't true? And here's the other
I'd
thing.
never heard that.
Yeah.
Well, because it didn't
So
come out in
really,
public.
what's the
Not
worst thing
everything
you
that
can do with
not
the
everything that
entire
happens in
locker
the
room?
dressing
go
room.
on.
It isn't
Go
like
on,
the
Google
guy
the fact
put it out
check.
on a fucking public thing,
Check
you
that.
know. But
Go
he,
go on Google AI and Chat GPT and fact check.
The worst
You know?
thing you can do
But
is
I-
sell in
We're
front
gonna
of,
we're
in
gonna
front of
fact
the
check
locker
Conan
room,
in real
right?
time
But
on
wait,
AI,
it's Conan's revelation though. So Conan's the only one that knew that.
Right.
So AI's not going to
people
know.
that were in the room knew it, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wrestlers that were told. Everybody
Yeah.
in the dressing room knew it, bro.
Oh.
Pick somebody that you know in AEW Disco and ask them.
Right.
Well,
Everybody knew.
then that's if you got the inside like, and
Yeah.
in my mind,
And remember, Ben, that around that time they were taking shots. Ariel Hawani was taking shots at him.
Sure.
Tony Khan was taking shots at him. Bro, there is no love lost between these two.
No, I mean, TK having a meltdown, big leaguing people is funny in my mind. So, you know, like.
And the third one I want to ask you, was this a rib or this is for real? I also read on Vince's Twitter that he said that he was willing to go to some little town, Colorado, and talk to him in person.
Yeah, though they were playing Colorado, Littleton, right?
Right? It already happened?
I think they just might have played it. I'm not sure.
Did he go?
No, because they didn't reach out to do it. Because, if Khan wants to do all these small time podcasts with fanboys and
Oh,
fangirls,
no.
No. He only does
It's
podcasts with people that put him over because he doesn't even go on Busted Open
Yeah.
anymore. We had Dave LaGreca on here.
so what else is there? If they're not on Busted Open, he's not on Cornette, he's not on
Dude,
Russo, he's not on
exactly.
Hamin,
Yo.
he's not on Cabernet, he's not on
he's
K100.
not-
What
he
else
doesn't
is
do-
there? There is nobody.
These dirt sheet Mark Scheitz are still fanboys
Exactly.
of AEW.
That's
it.
who he
That's all
goes to.
That's
The
that's
people
all
that
he
put him
does.
over.
That's all Dave does. That's all the Sean Ross. That's all that.
And all their opinions mean nothing. They've
Bro,
never
and-
trained.
but
They've
no,
never
that's
been.
the
right.
thing.
They've
And
never
almost-
been in time.
No,
Yeah,
real quick.
They hold weight in the echo chamber.
Right.
Yeah,
And
they
if
don't
you
even
want,
explain
people,
the outside
if
the
you
echo
want
chamber
buddies to
is
go blow sunshine up your ass, that's
Right.
fine.
You don't
Now
gotta
go
explain
look at
that
the
to me.
numbers.
Right.
You've
You
lost
gotta explain that right.
54% of your audience.
Bro,
You started at 1.4 million. You're at 650,000.
Right. And-
Why do you think that you're not on the path to success? Because you're listening to people who have no credibility, people who are telling you that you're doing a wonderful and marvelous job, and you don't even know how to sell a stomach punch. But you're supposed to go tell and direct people, but a stomach
actually
punch
brought
you don't
that
even
up.
understand how to
Right.
sell. So
Right.
this is the obvious that's right in front of everybody's face. The best thing he could have done is go have a quiet sit down in Littleton, Colorado, over a nice glass of Cabernet with Vince Russo,
Or
and
do a
go,
little
you know
smoking.
what?
Right.
I'm going to
And-
put you on payroll allegedly, and you write my creative from now on. And then once it starts to work, everybody will think I'm a genius.
Ben,
But that's not it.
Ben.
And it's
No,
June.
so
It's
if you look
it's
at-
June.
But here's why that never would have happened to begin with. He is from the Dave Meltzer message boards back in the day. Okay, so he's one of the guys that was typing on there how crappy the creative was at WCW in 2000. Like he was one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like he's not.
How's that working out? How's that education working out for him
You
numbers
don't,
wise?
you don't have to explain that to me. But that echo chamber, that whole, they've educated people that Vince does not know what he's talking about.
If
Yeah.
you
Okay,
had a
that
financial
shows-
advisor and you gave your financial advisor $100,000 and they lost 50,000 of it, and they're
You know
going, "This shit is great. This is the best
Right.
ever," and you're going, "You know what? It
I'm
is.
not-
I lost $50,000. You're a fucking moron."
I'm not arguing that. I'm saying they're not correctable. Okay, because they're not willing to go outside the.
Sure,
echo
it's
chamber
correctable. You know
and
how it's
talk to the people that
correctable?
did.
This guy, that guy over there,
It'll-
Vince
it'll never
Russo, this
You
guy,
know, I'm a published short story writer, Ben.
Are you?
It's got the same thing as it's got the same chance as Cornette and Russo having Thanksgiving dinner together with their families.
Well,
Okay, listen.
Right.
Time out.
Go
Time out.
ahead.
You guys wanted to wrap up in 30, so we're about there. And also, AEW's in Colorado, June 5th in Loveland, Colorado. Is that the one?
Yeah, I think that's probably
Okay, so it's not that hasn't happened yet. A couple weeks.
So
Yeah.
give us another 10 minutes real
Bill-
quick. So
Yeah.
the-
Vince will want him to pay him trans though.
so So-
Go ahead.
um oh, this is something I've told Disco a couple of times. Bro, I write one show, right? That's a weekly show, right?
Mhm.
And that in itself is very engrossing. And then I write house shows that I do in Tijuana.
Awesome. I gotta say, awesome job on the draws, man. Those pictures, when I see them, I'm just like, that's
They're
how
all
shit
AI
should be
generated.
done.
It's all fake.
They're all
Half the
AI.
seats-
I
Half the seats
figured.
are empty. Yeah.
Well, that's the way you got to go.
Hey,
And so the thing is that, bro, that's very engrossing for me. He's doing 3 shows, and I always said, give one show to Vince Russo, give one show to, let's say, Jeff Jarrett, give one show to 3 different guys, right, that have
But
been in the
Sanjay-
business.
Jimmy
Four
Jacobs-
shows and ROH.
Jimmy Jacobs knows what he's doing.
Right,
Jimmy
Sanjay,
Jacobs is there.
Jimmy
Jimmy
Jacobs, they know what they're doing. Okay,
Chris Daniels.
and then let them do those shows. And
Chris
you just-
Daniels is wrestling tonight.
is he?
What?
He's on the card with
Oh, yeah, right.
Seidel
Yeah,
out of
he did a thing with
nowhere.
Young, but right,
Yeah.
right.
They're
All
tagging.
the matches are.
Oh, they're
know what it's
tagging.
about.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, bro.
And so let them do the show. And if they don't give you results in 6 months, you get rid of them and you put somebody else. You don't have to do every
Yeah, but
fucking thing.
You-
But
you guys-
he likes putting himself over, because the other day I went on his site and it's this Fulham, this Jacksonville Jaguars, this,
Mhm.
like all these fucking things, and none of them you can do right because you have to split your time between everything.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
you're never going to be able
And
to focus and be
here's
a
the other
master.
thing, Ben. Here's the other thing. How is it that Vince Russo, who was the writer with Ed Ferrara during the most profitable time in WWE history, with the exception of now, because I think this one's more profitable, right? But that was hotter. Okay.
Well, front row seats were only $200 at that time. Front row's
Right.
10,000 now for Mania.
So you've got a Vince Russo, right? Eric Bischoff, you can say whatever the fuck you want about him, but he fucking the first guy and only guy to beat Vince head to head. Okay. Nash, big star everywhere he went. Um, us, we're Cornette. He's been everywhere. He's a fucking historian. We're all saying the same thing. We don't even listen to each other's shows. We don't even really talk to each other. We're all saying the same fucking thing, bro.
Yeah, I know. And one guy says it with a "hey man" Southern accent. So one guy says "bro" with a New York, and the other guy's got the Latino slang. Like that. It's all the same lesson, and then they don't want to hear it. So
it's fun. Let me tell you what's funny, Ben. Sometimes I'll read a quote from Bischoff, or sometimes I'll read a quote from Cornette, and I go, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Because why? Because we understand logic, marketing, how to get somebody over, how to get heat, put heat on a heel, make your baby off your heel. But this guy does not want to hear that and can do no wrong. And if he would have humbled himself and taken all the guys you just mentioned and once a week had them on payroll retainer to have a digital creative meeting where they're not in the same room, where nobody can punch anybody in the face, that would – and just flush out ideas, and then he can pick and choose and do what he wants. You've got the gods of wrestling who are the bookers here that would give him a master's level education. Instead, he's been doing that since 6th grade at the lunch table. He knows what the fuck's going on.
So any fan that's been watching sports for a long time could
run a business. Dude, of course.
It's this simple. I watched more wrestling than probably 99.9% of professional wrestlers growing up did, because I got to live in Atlanta where we had the 7-hour wrestling block on Saturday nights you can record. So I had 7 extra hours compared to what the rest of the country can. Plus I got the WR, so I got the New York stuff, the local, I got everything, 15 hours.
You got everything,
right?
Dude.
So I watched all that, right? But
how was your chair then? Did you have a good chair to sit in while you're watching?
It's important.
It's important.
Yeah. But when you're young, you're not that beat up.
But I would watch all this stuff, and I could see that if they were talking to each other sometimes. I didn't know how it was done until I went and trained. Okay.
Sure.
I got in the business. I got trained. I started reading the dirt sheets when I got there. I didn't even know these existed, right? But I got trained. But then I started getting, went into WCW, got in creative and stuff. Bro, I didn't really. I had a next level of learning when I started working with Dutch and Jeff.
Yeah.
Because they were telling me things that I would never even have thought of. It's like
probably simplifying it to them. Yes.
Stuff that I thought I was very, very knowledgeable in the business, and these guys are telling me stuff that never even crossed my mind.
Because you had fan
wow.
knowledge. That's what you had.
Right. I still had fan knowledge, but I had insider knowledge. But the intricacies of booking and writing a show and booking programs and long term, I learned so much from Jeff and Dutch. I told Vince, I didn't really learn a lot from Vince. Vince was just an idea guy, creative and stuff, but the intricacies of match placement and stuff and pay,
who's good at that too?
Dutch
Terry
and Jeff
Taylor.
were so good at. Yeah, Terry Taylor was good at that too.
Well, I mean, forget about even creative. Formatting a show, Tony Khan has no idea what he's doing.
But look who he's learning from. He's learning from people the people that have never even trained to wrestle. That first level stage of and I'm like, how can you? Well,
yeah, and he's relying on cage match results. Come on.
Bro, he's
but the thing is, he's paid for a brain trust around him. And are these guys who are legends trying to help and educate him, and it falls on deaf ears, or are they just not saying anything and collecting a check until it runs out?
Number one, number one turned into number two. When he didn't listen, then it turned into number two.
You get frustrated, bro.
You don't give a fuck. Neither do I. Just pay me ATM.
Here's one thing
you could learn.
Was in my mind of a major WWE flop, even though in the fans' eyes it's just a celebrity thing. We talk about those other celebrities. Patrick Mahomes, that spot. Mm-hmm. He's in Kansas City. He's not in San Francisco. The heel comes down, takes his Super Bowl rings, and does a knockout shot. In the hometown where the guy's the biggest baby face of ever, he's helping the heel. Braun Strowman comes down, supposed to be a babyface return, gets in the face of Mahomes when it should be them side by side celebrating, putting over that this guy's back.
I would agree with
How
that.
the fuck does that happen in WWE in 2024?
I would agree with
if you
that.
were in San Francisco and did it, then that spot's acceptable. To do it in KC, more.
I'm raising my hand.
Yeah.
Why, I'm telling you why it happened.
First time for everything.
Number one, Mahomes wasn't there promoting Kansas City. Mahomes is there promoting Prime. He's got a piece of the company. So they're doing a prime spot for the masses, not just the local Kansas City crowd. That's what I look at that as. This is Patrick Mahomes promoting Prime, not Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chief, promoting the Kansas City Chiefs.
You got the biggest baby face in the history of the city doing a heel fucking thing. That alone, on paper, invested in Prime or not, is him.
I don't know.
I would have liked to have seen Andy Reid attack somebody.
As much because I just know him and Logan Paul are business partners. So he's been.
Yeah,
he's
but
in the,
still, you
okay,
still got to.
so
that's fine. What he should have done is, with the babies, duck one and knock out Logan Paul. Let him do it. You know what I mean? Like, at least you're getting the spot over. But these types of sideways bookings where the baby face is doing run-ins to get heat on the heel and then is like, haha, I gotcha, as they walk away, like, that's not what a baby face does at all. And I think their show is so compartmentally written by different blocks of writers that there's no continuity across the script. Now, that's changed a little bit as of late, but I still see a lot of those editing and transitional problems in psychology of logic of the characters of how a baby face or heel should act. A lot of these heels, you feel empathy for them because of how they got cocked over in the psychology. That's not what a heel should be at all. So there's still a lot of things on the big brand that's supposed to be A+ and setting a standard that leaves me scratching my head every
There
single
are
day.
some things, but bro, they do such a phenomenal job all the way around, from production, the storyline, to finding talent, to cultivating talent. I mean, they've got a.
Well, I think really
You
you're
have to
going to
look
see a
up to
new
what they're
standard.
doing, even as a booker. Yeah.
You're going to see a new standard of excellence tonight on Dynamite when this contract signing with Mercedes Moné. I think that's going to really. I think you're going to see some real
and Tony made the announcement that there's going to be a huge overrun. Because usually, believe it or not, do you see the ratings every week or no?
Yeah, I usually see it. Yeah.
If you notice, usually the overrun is the highest rated segment. The last
because
5 minutes.
people think something else is coming on.
Right.
The lead in and the overrun, whether it's the nerd show or whatever. I don't care if it's Leave It to Beaver reruns. It's going to do better than what you just did on that show because it's going to have an actual story that told a story, did business, and gave an actual ending for closure. Like the fact that we have the best friends. I heard you guys talking about Trent, right? Like maybe a mid-card vanilla guy, but the fact that we have Trent Beretta.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, but they were the best friends, right? So when best friends break up, that's a blood feud. You don't go into a wrestling match after a blood feud and do a clean finish, but then the heel got their heat back, so he thinks he's a smart booker, patting himself on the head for that. That match shouldn't even have happened that way.
Because, bro, let me tell you one of my biggest pet peeves, and there's many. How many times do they not build heat? Hardly ever.
You have no idea.
Babyface always has to come out and and this is a very white word for me, has to get their comeuppance, But let me, one last thing before I get you out of here. I want to help you if I can here. Can we talk about your Ravens thing here?
Yeah, man. I'm the 81st legal dispensary in New York State. It's been, and thank you for that opportunity. It's been a crazy 2 years of going through all of the process, but we opened on March 10th. So we're about 2 months in. We had RVD do our ribbon cutting. It was awesome.
Can people order stuff from you, like online or through the mail?
Only in New York, you can.
Only in New York. Can you give the information so they know? And because I just want to say one thing real quick. As you know, we keep it a buck here. I've been getting. No? Okay. All right.
But yeah, dude, ravensjoint.com. You can see I have all local farmers from all over New York State who are trying to make their dreams happen. And it's been a tough process for everybody.
Syracuse, right?
Yeah. Syracuse, New York, ravensjoint.com. if you guys can just follow us at Ravens Joint wherever you are. We're on X, Insta, YouTube. I'm going to be doing tiny desk concerts, pet adoptions, as well as selling the best weed in New York State. And it's a crazy daydream to be walking
Now,
around in there.
I know, bro. I'm the same way. I thought I wouldn't see this till my 70s or 80s or
Yeah,
some shit.
and dude, we got legal weed and UFOs in the same year. I mean, come on.
That's great. And here's the other thing. So what else do you sell? Do you sell like mushrooms or acid or anything else?
Or do you do like the kratom and the dick pills? That's two of my
Yeah,
biggest
not yet. I'm going to get into some CBD for those who don't want the THC, and
right.
Some pet CBD. That's another license we have to get. But everything is so split into, if you own a dispensary, you can't get a cultivator license. You can't get a micro license where you can do both, or a processor license where you're making dabs. So they've got a very tiered system. And, New York State's taken a lot of flack. And unfortunately, the two top guys, kind of the Vince and the Bruce of cannabis, have been thrown on the sword in the last week. So things are going to be kind of strange. I think they're probably going to get a czar from the liquor authority to come in and be the next head of the program. So there's going to be a strange switch in management, but we roll with the punches. The rules change all the time. And, but right now, man, I'm able to.
Really,
people,
basically all you sell is CBD and THC, nothing else?
I sell the best cannabis weed, marijuana flower you can find, all hand selected and tested by yours truly.
When I saw you in New York, you let me try a little bit, and it was incredible, bro.
There's so many great growers here. You can't even step to the mic.
You don't sell mushrooms or mushroom bars or anything like that?
No mushrooms. That's in DC right now. I think that'll probably happen here soon. But right now,
that's everybody. And I do mean everybody here that I know that's like Dominic's age.
Yeah.
They all do weed and they microdose
shrooms.
Yeah, and you can get that shit online now, Conan. There's a lot of places that, it's medically for your depression and anxiety, and that's it. And the same thing with what's the cat tranquilizer shit?
Ketamine.
Ketamine, but what do they call it? Special K. Yeah, Special K now too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the shrooms, man, and the microdose, like, sure, a trip is a good time for a couple hours, but really, it's the after effects of that 2 weeks. I feel like I'm a better and more up and positive person for like 2 weeks after that. So I hope that we get the chance to sell shrooms soon. But I have
let me know if
all types of vapes. I have all the edibles, everything that you can get cannabis-wise. Now there's even like pixie sticks that you can dump in your drink. And 10 milligrams in any drink you want. It's crazy.
Need to try that. Well, continued success, my friend. Next time in New York, I'm going to hook up with you for sure.
Yeah, dude. Always welcome.
Yeah. And thank you for being on the show. And we want to have you on from time to time. You're a friend of the show and people like when you're on. So do we.
I appreciate that, man. It's always great chopping it up with you guys. And it's really not Dave Chappelle. And just like JFK,
somebody needs to tell his wife that
Conan's chair is back and to the left. So watch out.
That's how what Ed Ferrara told me once, which I thought was hilarious. He goes, he says, when Obama went into the presidency and he thought, good, I'm going to change everything and there's hope and all this, because he went in very excited, right?
Yeah.
The first day he was in, they brought him into a room and they showed him the Zapruder film.
And that's all. That's all there was.
Right.
That's all there was.
You needed to know. See. Right.
And then they said, here's your wife, Big Mike. Have a good time. Go get him.
Yeah, or these days they'll take you in the room and they'll show you the video of that you didn't know there's a cam in the room and you were banging the 17-year-old with coke all over her nose, and that's all the videos they got now.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you, this is not the look most 17-year-olds go for. They don't find this attractive.
Well, I just want to say to our friend Bin Hamin, aka Bin Hagreen. Go check him out. Tell him.
Ravensjoint.com. You guys, if you want more of my bullshit, or hear me with Russo and Stevie Richards on the Raw and SmackDown review or Master Shoot Theater, go to channelattitude.com. $5 a month for my side, $5 for Vince's side, and like we said, we're giving that critical take, but it's for the good of the business. And when something sticks out, we're going to call it out. But I always love being here on K100 with you guys, man, and having a good time. Disco raised his hand. I think that's a win for today.
That
You
is
know,
a big win. That's maybe first time ever.
So,
Yes, that is a first.
appreciate it. All my love.
Thank you for your
Let me-
time, my friend, and we'll
yeah,
have you back
give
again.
me a kazoo on the way out so I don't think I'm over.
All right. With pleasure.
What the fuck?
You'll be glad to know.